This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan, with your host, Nancy Smitham, and the latest news from Alpena Community College with Dr. Olin Joynton. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Nancy Smitham. My first guest is Jeff Gray from Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary. Hi, Jeff.
Good morning. It's great to be back.
Good to have you back again, and always many things going on at the sanctuary. And today, let's start out talking about branding. I know that it's a big thing, and I know you're very heavily involved.
Yeah, there's an incredible branding effort going on in the community that's really trying to, how can we make Alpena a better place for visitors and for ourselves, make it a destination for ourselves and visitors. And then how can we create new opportunities for businesses, for new businesses, existing businesses, and a place that we want everyone to live, young people, new people to come here. And really looking at the community effort as a whole and how we can move Alpena forward. And there's been branding efforts before, but what's special about this one, it's really bringing together a bunch of different entities to really speak with the same voice and really share all the great things we have here in Northeast Michigan.
So how can people watching, how can they become involved?
Well, there's a group, this isn't new, it's been about a 2-year process. It was really launched by the Convention and Visitors Bureau. They brought in an international consultant that came in who was spectacular. He did a couple programs at the Sanctuary People I've seen, and we came up with an action plan. And we have 50 items about how we can move forward and earn the brand. And the brand is Sanctuary of the Great Lakes, and it talks about all of the wonderful natural areas in the community, all the great arts and cultural area, and the great kind of outdoor recreation and fitness opportunities, and really what makes us a sanctuary. And we're pushing this 50 action items. It's not a plan. It's things we're going to do to earn that title, Sanctuary of the Great Lakes. Just last week I was in a meeting, and we were talking about how we can, with a group that's working on the South Corridor, how they can clean up that area. And we're talking, and somebody mentioned Charlevoix, and they said, we were talking about flowers, and they said, and some said, well, they do this in Charlevoix. And when the woman said that, 3 people at the table went, I love Charlevoix.
Yes, it's so beautiful.
And so what we want is when people say Alpena in other places, they're going to say, Alpena, I love Alpena. And that's what our goal is really to have the brand, what people think of Alpena when our name comes up. Not what we think of ourselves, but that's important too.
Yes.
But really, how do we earn that brand, Sanctuary of the Great Lakes? And there's many folks involved. Again, the CVB, the Chamber, the DDA, lots of individual businesses and private people. So it is a spectacular process we're going through, and it will be a campaign really of how we're going to create the Alpena that we all want to live and work in.
So when you see something in the paper, because I always notice to see press releases that there's an event coming up, attend an event, see what you think, and see how you can become involved.
Yeah, the plaza has been a big one that's had a lot of press and a lot of meetings. The city wrote a grant with us to get a grant to do some concepts of a plaza. There'll be some meetings coming up next month. I can give some more details on that, and we'll invite people to come and give their thoughts. But really, I think it could be game-changing for our community.
Okay. And when people think of the sanctuary, you're so visible out there. We think of glass bottom boats. We think of the expansion project. We think of the Maritime Festival. We think of the NOAA building. We think of the statics displays that you have there. We think of all that. But sometimes we forget about the science of everything that's what you're there for. And you just had a wonderful new condition report.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up, because we really do. What we're here to do is protect the Great Lakes and the rich history. That's really what our main goal is. And we use the education and outreach, which so many people know about, and we have resource protection where we work with DNR to help protect the sites in the Coast Guard, but research is key to that. And so we just finished a comprehensive report that looked at all of the research we've done over the past 10 years, and it's kind of what is the state of the sanctuary today, and it looked at the impacts from, and mainly looking at the shipwrecks themselves, with some looking at the lakes themselves. But it's a document that just went online this past week. You can get it at thunderbay.noaa.gov. And it really looks at the research we've done, what the state of the shipwrecks are and their preservation, and what we're doing to address that, and really what we're going to try to do over the next 10 years to make sure that these incredible treasures remain that way, so we can use them now, but so future generations will also be able to use them. And
this was a Russ Green-driven project.
Yeah, Russ Green, who's a deputy superintendent and also the research coordinator, really took the lead on this document. And it's a peer-reviewed document, so scientists and archaeologists from around the Great Lakes and the country looked at this, so it wasn't just, hey, the sanctuary guy says this is what's going out there, but we scientists from across the country really contributed to it. And that's great because, as you know, we have scientists come in every summer from across the country, even from around the world sometimes, to come and do research right here in Alpena. And it looked at what the human impacts are, and then what some of the climate change might do to some of these researchers. Invasive species is probably one of the key ones. You might have read that section of the document. But
zebra mussels, I hate them. They're the bane of my existence.
Yes, and so and it looks at all that, and it's a great document, and we're excited to share it with people.
And I really encourage people to go on it. It's, like you said, it's a little cumbersome to read, but it's very detailed, so read it. I started and I thought, okay, I'll save this for when I have more time, but yes.
And there's a great section that talks about what the resources are of the sanctuary. And you mentioned expansion. We did look at the wider expansion. As you know, the sanctuary is currently, the water's off of Alpena County, about 448 square miles, but we're in a process to expand the sanctuary to include all the waters off Presqu'île and Alcona County, all the way to the international boundary, which would increase us by almost 10 times in size. So we looked at the resources within that larger area because we're hoping that we'll have that expansion done by the end of this year.
And there's some really great people working on it from Rogers City north, south.
From educators to community to economic development. It's really trying to share this sanctuary experience with that larger area.
Okay, and we only have about 2 minutes left, so let's talk about ROVs. We've been seeing and hearing and reading a lot about ROV.
ROVs, remotely operated vehicles. These are the underwater robots that we use. In 2002, some of the first images that people saw of our shipwrecks were from when Dr. Ballard brought his $1 million ROVs in here to explore these deep water shipwrecks. But what we're doing is programs for students from as young as kindergarten through middle school, high school, and college level are building these robots to learn about science, technology, engineering, and math. And we have programs where they build them and then they come here and compete. We have programs where it's just a one-day program, but science and math are really core to, I think, our success as a country. And the state has made it a priority. The federal government's making more a priority, incentive for schools to get involved with more of this technology. And it's really a spectacular way. And it's the same math and science that is used for underwater robots that are used in land robots or medical devices. So even though not all of these kids will be working next to Dr. Ballard or Cousteau on a ship, it's really exposing them to the skills they'll need to succeed later in life.
They may be finding my pontoon ladder at the bottom of my lake.
Yes, we'll get one of them out there.
Yes, that's a good idea.
We just had a group, and we're attracting groups from around the state and actually around the region to come here and compete in these competitions. And they sent some images of them going under the ice. One team downstate, at an ice fishing event where they had their ROVs cut through the ice.
Ooh, how exciting.
They can find that ladder.
Okay, we're out of time. Once again, thank you for being here. Look forward to next month and more of an update on branding and all the spring projects that you have going on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff. I'll be right back with Mary Beth Stutzman from the Alpena Visitors and Convention Bureau following these messages. Hi, welcome back. My last guest today is Mary Beth Stutzman, who is the Executive Director of the Alpena Visitors and Convention Bureau. Hi and welcome.
Hi, Nancy.
Congratulations on your new job.
Oh, thank you so much.
I know that you had big shoes to fill. Deb Pardike, everyone knew and loved Deb for many years, and she really made a difference in our community, but I have no doubt that you're in there, already in the trenches, working hard and have some big plans.
Yeah, I am so excited. I can't even tell you how excited I am. And I have been able to work with Deb for a few weeks side by side with her and learned some of the ways of the office, and it just makes me more excited about what is to come. And no kidding, big shoes to fill. She has done so much for our community, and that is going to make my job so much easier. One of the big things, one of my big responsibilities will be making sure that the branding initiative and kind of building up Alpena's identity is carried out. And she started that process, and now I just have to pick up, the baton and keep running.
And a lot of people know the Visitors and Convention Bureau. If you're going to have a convention in town, you call them and say, hey, can you get me some goodie bags? Hey, how many rooms do we have? Hey, can you help us? But really, there's a lot more to it than that.
There is so much more. It is all about making Alpena a great community to live in, and also a great community that people will want to visit as a destination. And we already are. There really isn't a lot of work to be done. It's just picking the pieces and putting the puzzle together and packaging it so that it makes sense to someone from the outside. We know our community and we love it, and we know the gems we have and what our assets are. And really my job will be to uncover those for the rest of the world.
You know, and Bob Kraft, when he was the director of Northern Lights Arena, he always told a story about this family that came in to play hockey. Their kid played hockey and they were renting a cottage on Long Lake. And you know, they went to the hockey tournaments and they had so much fun. They ended up coming back and buying a cottage on Long Lake, and now they're here all the time and they're spending money starting from a hockey tournament. So that is so important that we have events and we have hospitality services and we have all the things that people need to come to our town and say, hey,
yes,
I love this town. I want to stay here. I want to come back. I want a vacation here. I want to retire here. All those wonderful things.
Yeah, making sure our infrastructure is developed and can support an influx of people, whether they're visiting or coming to live here, is important. And that's kind of a lot of the things that the CVB office is going to be involved in, and through this branding initiative in the community is making sure that these things are in place. It might not directly affect people coming in from the outside immediately, but it's all part of that bigger picture and making our community a great place to live.
Yes.
A great place that people want to visit. It's all about the experience.
It is, and you know, I always tell Jeff every time he's here, and today I didn't mention it, but you know, last summer he had 80 scientists here. Can you imagine staying at hotels, eating, and the activities and the entertainment, what 80 people did, staying at our house, staying in our town, and they weren't just here for a week or two, they were here for some time.
Right.
So important that, you know, our community realizes what an entity that NOAA is in our community, what an entity it is to have a Holiday Inn, to have a Days Inn, to have a Best Western, to have the mom and pop businesses and hotels in our community, and that it's consistent service.
Yes.
And that's another thing that the Visitors and Convention Bureau is involved in.
That's right. Making sure that our accommodations are appropriate and available, and that we have adequate amounts of everything for people coming in. And one of the things I do is work with groups who are coming in and making sure that all those questions are answered. And I'm kind of a hostess, so to speak, of the community. So you're coming in, you're going to be here for this long. What kind of things do you want to do? And see, what can I show you about my town that is really special, and give you that experience as if when you maybe go visit relatives that live out of town. And I know we go downstate and we might see a museum. Well, we have the same thing here, and we don't always think about that when we have guests come. We don't always think to say, let's go check out the Maritime Center. Let's go take a ride on this glass bottom boat. We see it every day, and we don't realize how special it is.
And you have some wonderful publications that you do every year too, that get passed out around at visitors centers all over to let people know about our town. What are some ways that just regular people in our community, business owners, or just people who live here, can assist and help spread the word?
Oh, there are a lot of ways, and a couple of the big ones, just being an advocate for our community, getting to know our community, first off, and then speaking positively about it. We want to make sure that our neighbors and our friends and our family that live here have a good time living here and calling this place home. But we also want to make sure that we're speaking positively about what we have to offer and who we are as a community to outsiders coming in. A couple of other ways are businesses can get involved in the branding project by finding out what parallels do they have between our branding message, being a place of a sanctuary of relaxation and discovery, kind of defragmenting your mind and your life. If you're used to a hectic lifestyle, you can come to Alpena and relax and get back in touch with yourself, reconnect with family. Businesses can kind of take a look at that and figure out, well, how would their messaging or how would their business be able to incorporate some of that so that it's a cohesive message across the community. So that is one thing that I'm reaching out to businesses. If they are interested in doing that, I am more than happy to meet with them and discuss some marketing ideas or ways that they can start to incorporate the messaging of the brand and help build up Alpena's identity, because that's really what it's going to take.
Yes.
It's going to take everyone across the entire community to get involved in order for this thing to work.
I had a coworker recently coming in for her daughter's basketball tournament here in Alpena a couple of weekends ago, and she said, well, what can we do? We're in Alpena. And I went through a list, and the brewery had wonderful entertainment, Bolton Bar had wonderful entertainment, there was a play at Alpena Civic Theater, a play at Thunder Bay Theater, Black Sheep had entertainment, the high school had something going on. She said, stop. She said, too many choices. And when I hear people say there's nothing to do in Alpena, it's kind of frustrating, because that was just a Saturday night.
Oh, it really is short-sighted, but I think it happens to all of us, especially when we see it every day. We become somewhat complacent about what really is out there, and we go to work and we kind of have a routine. We go home, fix dinner, and it's the same thing day after day. But really, when you look at it, there is too much to do. Sometimes I feel like I'm pulled in a whole bunch of different directions, and there's always something going on for all ages, all different interests, cultural events, art events, history, activities, sports, you name it, we have it.
Now, if someone out there is listening and saying, hey, I've always wanted to be involved in the community, and I've never really done anything. I know you have an open door policy. Stop in, your office is in the chamber, welcome you to your new position, and said, hey, I'd like to help, what can I do? Absolutely,
I am more than welcome to sit down and talk with anybody. You never know where the next great idea will come from. And I am all ears.
And if you are a member of a group or an organization and they want to have a conference or bring a convention to our town or do something, please call, find out what's available, what you can do to help, because it's amazing the things that are available in our community and what can be put together to help bring some basketball, hockey, civic organizations events, to our community.
Yep. Anything. I am available.
Okay, once again, congratulations,
Thank
and
you.
we're looking forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you. Please stay tuned for Dr. Olin Joynton following these messages.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Talk of the Town. I'm Olin Joynton, president of Alpena Community College. My guest this morning, Mr. Scott Edgar, medical assistant student at ACC, all set to graduate in May.
How about that?
Welcome to the show, Scott, and
Thank you.
Congratulations on just about finished with this program. How about just starting off, for the audience, how did you come to select ACC as an institution of higher learning?
I had put off going to college when I was a lot younger and decided it was time to finish my education. ACC was close. It was a good, everything I'd looked up was a good reference material, so I just decided that was where I should go, and thought about going into nursing. And
now, medical assisting is akin to nursing, but it's also akin to some of the office management functions that you would find in a medical office. It looks like cross-training at its best, the people who can do everything. Is that correct?
it is, and a lot of the doctor's offices are going with medical assistants because they are versatile. They can do the office administration, plus they can work in the clinic with the doctor and one-on-one with patients.
So a little bit broader type of career than just an office manager. I say just, I mean a person who is exclusively focused on that or exclusively focused on the nursing. This can give a person basically an opportunity to be versatile and work in a couple of different worlds.
True. Like I said, the the medical assistant can work as a receptionist, working in mailing, scheduling appointments, answering phones, everything in front, and then working hand in hand with the doctor in the back.
Is there any aspect of the program that covers medical coding and billing and insurance processing as well?
The medical assistant has to know how to do medical coding and billing for the super bills. The office administration also has to do medical coding, insurance, billing, the whole 9 yards, from the time the patient walks in to the time they leave.
So you must perform a tremendous service in that role, letting the physicians and the nurses do what they do best. And
I'd like to think so.
Right. You know, a lot of people say, well, I'd like to go to ACC. I'm not sure I can afford it. And you told me before the show began that our financial aid office was able to help you solve that equation.
They have done a fantastic job And if you have any questions, by all means, feel free to contact them. They can help you out in every aspect. And I couldn't have made it through without them. I really do appreciate it.
Well, that's great to hear. I'm fond of saying there's almost no financial reason not to go to ACC.
Exactly.
Because regardless of the circumstances, there are grants that you don't have to pay back. There are loans, which you do, but a modest amount of borrowing to get through a program to get you to a professional job does make sense. And then there are also scholarships provided by the ACC Foundation. So people are not always familiar with the whole range of options they have. And the Department of Education has characterized ACC in the statistics it files as one of the community colleges in Michigan that has the lowest net cost. And net cost means after the financial aid comes in, it's really a low-cost, high-quality, local, accessible option for learners of all kinds. Any words of praise for favorite instructors now that we're talking about ACC staff?
I have to admit, I have thoroughly enjoyed all of the instructors. If I have favorites, I would have to say Dara Endish this past semester, Janine Repke, and Kim Salziger. They have all three really led me down the road that I'm pursuing, and it's I love each and every one of them.
Well, that's great. That resonates with everything I've heard from them and heard about and observed with them. So I'm sure they're appreciative of your comments. You know, a good instructor can inspire, can encourage, can correct a person, can whet your appetite for more learning and make the learning exciting. And those ladies, I know, are able to fulfill that function very well.
They have done so.
Now, career options once you finish?
I am hoping to go to work with the clinic that I'm currently in. However, if that's not possible, I will pursue other avenues and definitely want to stay in this field. It's something I've trained hard for, worked hard for, and love what I'm doing.
Excuse me. That brings up another aspect of the program. It's not just sitting in a classroom. It's hands-on. There are clinical assignments that are part of the program. And let me express my thanks on behalf of the college for the offices and other entities around in our region that provide those clinical opportunities for students. But you actually, you get the theory, you do the learning from the book, you interact with the instructor, but then you go out in the same process and try it out, you know, sometimes make some mistakes, but then compensate for them, learn not to do that the next time, and it's a good way to learn.
Indeed. The whole program has two clinic procedures. One is the summer procedures where you actually do the office administration part, and then in the second year you have the clinical procedure where you go work hand in hand with the doctors and the other medical assistants and nurses. And it's 180 hours, and it just flies by.
That's good. That's good. And again, it gives the entities that are doing the clinical instruction, assisting us in that way, kind of like an extended interview with a possible future employee.
Indeed.
You're not just coming in to meet a person for an hour and make a hiring decision. There's several weeks there where you have an opportunity to see how that person responds to various situations.
Exactly. And you don't have just one person evaluating that individual either. You have everybody in the office that has worked with. I know right now I'm working down at the Osanique Malcona Health Care Center, and I have 3 different providers plus all of the different medical assistants and nurses and the office administrators. So,
well, congratulations on your decision to come to ACC and find a career that matches your talents and your conditions for happiness, and best of luck to you in being successful in this field, and thank you very much for being on the program.
Thank you, Dr. Joynton.
Right.
This has been Talk of the Town with Nancy Smitham and Dr. Olin Joynton. For a list of events taking place in Northeast Michigan, visit our website at WBKB11.com and click on Community. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production.